I've always been drawn to the water. There's something about its calmness that has always been a source of comfort for me. So when I inherited my grandparents' old lakeside cabin, I was thrilled. It had been years since I last visited, but I remembered the lake as serene blue, its surface smooth and inviting. I decided to take a week off from work to fix up the cabin and reconnect with those cherished childhood memories. The drive to the cabin was longer than I remembered, and as I turned down the narrow, winding road that led to the property, an unsettling feeling began to creep over me. The forest seemed denser, the shadows darker. By the time I arrived, dusk was falling, and the lake was shrouded in the thick, eerie mist. The cabin was just as I remembered, though more run down. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, the smell of must and age greeting me. I set my bags down and opened the windows to let in some fresh air, then decided to take a walk to the lake before it got too dark. The path to the water's edge was overgrown, but I managed to push through. As I approached the lake, I felt a sudden chill. The mist hung low over the water, and I could barely see the opposite shore. I stood there for a while, listening to the surrounding. There were no sounds of birds or insects, just an oppressive silence that seemed to press in on me. The stillness of the lake was unnerving. The very same that I remembered as calming now was suffocating to me. As I stood on the shore, the mist began to swirl subtly, as if stirred by an unseen hand. My breath became visible in the air, mingling with the fog and ghostly wisps. The edges of the lake blurred into the encroaching darkness. Something about the lake's changed appearance tugged at the edges of my memory. A warning, perhaps, or a story long forgotten, told in hushed tones by my grandparents. They spoke of the lake not just as a body of water, but as a living, breathing entity, possessing a soul that was ancient and deep. As the darkness deepened, the mist thickened, moving in unnatural patterns. A gnawing, unsettling feeling caught hold of me. I tried to turn and rush back to the cabin, but stopped when a deep, melodic hum pierced the silence. It was dark and foreboding, like the thrumming heartbeat of the earth, reverberating with an unsettling power as if an ancient being were awakening from their slumber in the shadowy depths of the water. The humming grew louder. It resonated with a sorrow that felt as old as the lake itself. That's when I noticed the ripples. They began at the center of the lake, spreading outward as if something beneath the surface was emerging. I held my breath, heart hammering in my chest as the water broke. But nothing emerged. No creature, no object. Instead, the ripples continued, forming patterns that seemed almost deliberate, encircling the area directly in front of me. The humming stopped abruptly, replaced by a soft, whispering voice. It was so low I could barely make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. It was pleading, urging me to listen, to understand. "Do not linger here," it breathed, the voice dissolving into the mist as quickly as it had appeared. Fear overrode my fascination, sending a surge of adrenaline through my veins. I backed away from the water's edge, each step cautious and slow, as though I was afraid to disturb the lake further. Back inside the cabin, I locked the doors and windows, drawing the curtains tight. My heart still raced. I realized then that the serenity of the lake was a facade, a mask worn over something ancient and unknowable, something that did not want to be disturbed. That night, the silence was oppressive. The mist pressed against the windows as if trying to get inside, to reach me. I didn't sleep, instead, watching the shifting shadows, listening to the haunting absence of natural sound. As dawn broke, the morning light did little to dispel the dread that had settled over me. I had planned to spend a week here, reconnecting with the serene memories of my childhood visits. But the lake had changed. Or perhaps it had always harbored that chilling presence, hidden beneath its tranquil surface, and I had been trying to forget what I had experienced here in the past. As I loaded the last of my bags into the car, a cold breeze swept past, carrying a moist, earthy scent. It was then that I noticed something unsettling. wet marks leading from the lake. A shiver ran down my spine as I followed the trail of water with my eyes, ending abruptly at the cabin's entrance. Inside, the floor was damp, with small puddles of water near the windows and door, as if the lake itself had tried to follow me inside. The drive away from the lake was tense, each mile adding to the weight of the unsettling reality that my connection to the lake was far from over. I had inherited this place from my childhood, but also its legacy of secrets and its haunting curse.